of it, you're going to have to look at that as an option. I understand that from a management position. But again, we had a system that worked very well before. If we can figure out a way to implement that system back into our budget, that would be the best course of action, because I think that benefits the employee the most.
Well, obviously, the sheriff is responsible for to the taxpayers, and to try to spend the training dollars in the most effective and efficient manner, keeping in mind that you want to train your people and give them the most opportunities to go to the best schools and the most schools. That kind of ties back to the mandatory training days that we have. That was an effective and efficient way that we could save on dollars. I disagree, Dave, that comp time does not cost the county, because it does when you leave. It does when someone takes a comp day and the shift is short and we end up paying overtime. I do agree with flex time. I don't agree with it all the time, but I think there's certain schools when a shift is a full 6-man shift and someone is going to a school down the road, I think the flex time is a way to save training dollars for future schools and be effective and efficient with the taxpayer dollars and still get the training.
Let me ask a quick question first. Flex time is hour for hour, you take it during the same pay period, is that correct? So in other words, if you go to school on your day off on Monday and you're scheduled back on Friday, you get Friday off, right? Basically, it's hour for hour.
Yeah, correct.
Right. That wasn't around when I was there, and let me say this: I don't agree with it in concept for two reasons. One, while I do agree that it's important to be fiscally prudent and it's nice to spread the budget as far as you can and get as many people to training as you can, I think certain schools that are allowed to have comp time or overtime, and certain other schools where you have to flex your time, very much breeds the potential for arbitrary decisions. And very much goes right back to my why is morale bad? Morale's bad because things aren't consistent. And you don't consistently know that this school and that school, and no, I'm sorry, it's not fair, it's not even, it's not right to pay one guy time and a half for a school and another guy straight time for a school, and I don't believe in that. I think if we're going to pay time and a half, or we're going to give comp time at time and a half, then they ought to get comp time across the board at time and a half if they're asked to do something on their time off, period.
As sheriff, are you involved in the yearly evaluations of the detention staff? And I know they're coming.
Can't hear you back here.
Sorry about that. As sheriff, are you involved in the yearly evaluations of the detention staff, front office, or any other non-sworn?
I think I would want to be as involved in the non-sworn as I was in the sworn. And let me say to a sheriff, I'm not a micromanager, I never have been. And I think those of you that worked with me before know that I'm not going to, do I feel I need to do the evaluation for the custodial staff on up? No, I don't. I think that the evaluations should be done by the people that are the immediate supervisor and work day to day with those people. I think the overall structure of the evaluation process is something that's very important to sheriff to be involved in, to make certain that those are done timely and accurately. And if there are issues with those evaluations, then certainly I think, as with any big issue that affects the employees directly, the buck will come up and stop at me, and I'd be certainly happy to visit with them. But is that kind of where your question was going, Mike? I don't know.
Yeah, the question basically was, do you have any input whatsoever in the evaluations of your staff? Not only for sworn, but for non-sworn.
Sure. And I think I would feel the same about the sworn and non-sworn and the office personnel and support personnel across the board. However, that being said, I certainly wouldn't go to a sergeant and say, you know what, I don't really like the way that guy looks at me when he walks by. Do something about him in his evaluation. So I would have more of a hands-off approach there. But if there was an issue with an evaluation, then certainly I think I should be involved in that.
Yeah, I agree. The sheriff has to have involvement in the process of the evaluation. But, you know, I read every evaluation that comes through. Very, very seldom do I ever make any comments to the supervisors because I have confidence in them that they work with them every day. They know what they're doing. They know how to properly evaluate them. You know, I usually read them because it gives me a feel for someone who has strengths in this area or weaknesses in this area, and I think that's very important, you know, when you're evaluating people for promotions or whatever reason. You know, so I think it's important to know your people and read them, but as far as, you know, I very seldom comment on one, other than, you know, the process itself of evaluation.
Yeah, I guess it should start with, the evaluation process needs to be fair and consistent. There's a new system that we started to use and we got away from it. We haven't been using it. I will assume that we'll again start using it. It's called the DOOR. For those of you that are not familiar with it, it's based off of the old evaluation system, but it gives you clear, concise anchors that you look at literally right in front of you when you're doing the evaluation. If you evaluate off of those anchors and not off of personal perception, you get a fair and consistent evaluation, regardless of who's doing the evaluating. If that's done, that information should come up through the chain of command up to the sheriff. You need to be aware of who is doing what in your organization, has little issues here or there. And again, looking at future leaders, you need to be aware of that. But as far as the sheriff's position as, gee, I don't think this is a fair evaluation for this person, you need to change that, no. Because I'm not the one directly working with that person, they are. And you need to have trust and faith in your leaders, in your leadership, in your command structure from the bottom up. And you put those people in. If you don't have that faith in those people, remove them.
Thank you. We just want to let you know we have an open door policy. You're more than welcome to come over and visit with us anytime.
Historically, the sheriff and his administration have not received overtime pay. Is it appropriate for overtime shifts to be set aside exclusively for administrative members, effectively circumventing the seniority clause in the contract? Should there be a full disclosure to the troops on where the money is being spent?
There should be total transparency in everything. And again, that's communication, and it needs to be a two-way street. Everyone should know what's going on. And there's very little that really needs to be conducted in any office that needs to be held secretly behind closed doors. Very little. There has to be some. That's just the way it works. But for the most part, it's that communication that needs to go back and forth. Where's the money coming from? Where is it currently being spent? And who's going to get it? Now, going with that, as far as administrative members taking up these overtime shifts, I think that's inappropriate. I think that money needs to be going out to the workers. You know, you're in an administrative position. You got a desk, you got a car that you drive to and from the office, hopefully. It seems to me you got it pretty good. I think that's kind of your OT. You don't need to be taking money out of the people that are underneath of you. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's fair to you guys. I don't think it's fair to anyone. That's both sides of the spectrum. I think the administrators need to be busy administrating and not sitting there trying to go out and work shifts and take money out of your mouth.
Well, obviously you're talking about Stone Garden. I can tell you that I have never worked a Stone Garden shift. Pete Wingard has never worked a Stone Garden shift. Legally, we cannot work a Stone Garden shift. Have some of my lieutenants and commanders work Stone Garden? Absolutely they have. I doubt that we will be able to spend all of the federal money